tell me why you're here today protesting.
I feel that our country is going to be a third world country in a very short time. And I feel like our government doesn't have our best interests at heart. I think they're run by, the government's run by corporations and donations for campaigns, and it breaks my heart that it's gotten, I'm going to start crying, that it's gotten so bad.
So what would you like to accomplish here today by protesting?
Just for me to be here, I had to be here today just so I could take a stand. I would like to try to get back to the same values that we had when I was young.
And what?
Corporations weren't leaving the country and just jerking the rug from underneath people's feet. So many people are hungry, so many people don't have medicine, can't afford medicine. I work part-time in mental health, and I have a lot of patients that can't even afford to buy their medicine, and once they're released from the hospital, within 2 weeks, they're already having breakthrough symptoms of psychosis.
This is the first time in history that we've seen so much money at the top. It's ridiculous. I mean, we have had reductions. Middle class has not gained any money in the last 10 years. Meanwhile, the wealthy just keep sucking it up. A few years ago where I worked, we all took a 5% reduction in pay. Our CEO made $8 million that year, and that's fair.
And what did the average guy working there make?
The average guy, well, I personally made, I think, $48,000 that year, and we all had to take 1 day without pay off every month.
So are you unemployed now?
No, I'm personally working, but the most I can hope for is, if I'm lucky, a 2% increase.
What would you like to see the protest accomplish?
At the long term?
Well, or even the short term, whatever you feel would be important that you could accomplish by doing this.
People need to make the politicians aware that we are aware, and it's time that we need to take our government back. I believe the first thing we need to do is track the money going into their hands.
Okay, so when you say we, who do you identify with most? Who would you include in we?
Middle class.
All right, and where do you think the middle class begins and ends?
Well, financially?
Or lifestyle? How do you define the middle class?
Oh, I would say people that make less than $250,000 a year.
Okay. And how far down does it go?
Well, I would say maybe, I guess, 50,000.
Okay. So you think below 50,000?
They're poor.
That's poor people?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're in this with us too. They're growing in leaps and bounds.
Okay.
I just saw a poll yesterday. It said that 19% of Americans didn't have food on their table every day this year.
Right. Excellent. Well, thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
So tell me why you're here today.
I'm here because I'm an artist, and I decided a couple of years ago to explore how we access healthcare in the U.S. By painting portraits of people and interviewing them and telling their stories. And after about 2.5 years of doing this, I have become increasingly alarmed about how the for-profit corporations in health insurance are serving as shareholders and profits. Now, I have nothing against capitalism. I have been a capitalist a couple times myself. I've owned a couple of businesses. But there is such a thing as responsible capitalism and the health and well-being of a country. And really the point of my art project and interviewing people and telling these stories is to say, I mean, can we have responsible capitalism and take care of the health and welfare of our citizens? So much energy of our country is consumed when people get sick trying to survive insurance, the whole insurance crisis.
So what do you see as the solution to the problem?
What I see as the solution is, I mean, I have my own ideas. I mean, there are lots of experts out there, and I'm going to rely on them, but I don't think that the experts are the lobbyists for the insurance companies. I have learned, just as a private citizen, I mean, I'm not an expert. I didn't study these issues my whole life. I learned through the people that I interview and their issues, and I had to research those issues, that there is a huge lobbying arm, I think it's called AHIP, for the insurance industry. And they are always lobbying our Congress people for what they want. And what they want is they want to increase the share value. They want more profits because they need to pay out dividends. So that's disturbing to me because they're not talking about how do we better serve the health and welfare of our citizens.
Okay.
I want that looked at. That's what I want.
So when you say you want it looked at, who do you want to look at it?
I want my congresspeople, first of all, not to be monopolized by lobbyists, number one. I'd like consumer advocates at the table. I'd like the lobbyists to stop trying to weaken the Affordable Care Act, which is a start. I have learned, just through my own personal experience, that that's going to cover maybe 30 million more people. There's still 20 million more uninsured, but it is a start, and AHIP is, I believe, trying to weaken that. That disturbs me. So I think I'm here just because I want a seat at the table. I'm not me personally, but I want the consumer to have a seat at the table.
So who should represent the consumer then?
I represent myself.
Right, but who, you said the consumer should have a seat at the table. Who should represent the consumer?
I would hope my congresspeople, but since they're not doing that right now, I think we need consumer advocates. I mean, I think there are organizations out there who are consumer advocates.
Okay.
I learn about this issue as an artist. I paint portraits, and I interview people at length, and I learn what they go through. So my job, as I see it, is to bring awareness by making a personal connection between what we believe and what is really happening. Let's cross that bridge.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Our personal responsibility. If there's any message
very
here,
nice for you.
I want people to take.
And you're white, and you're male, and you're educated, and you live in the in Bucks County area,
I am
and
for
that's great.
personal
And I'm for
responsibility,
personal
and I don't need the
responsibility
government.
for every single-
I don't need the government to take care of me.
No,
I
you
have to do those two
don't.
things.
You don't. But some
And how
people
are
do.
you dealing
Personal
personally?
responsibility.
How are you dealing personally with global
You know why
climate
I'm
change?
lucky? You know why I'm lucky? Because I worked
Climate
hard
change.
for
The
that.
Government didn't do something about the banks and the banking fiasco that just happened.
Okay,
You wouldn't have it.
I told you,
How are
I
you gonna
think
be able
it
to
was
do
a
that for
crime, and I
yourself?
studied the Wall Street.
We, each of us know
Take an interest in what's going on.
firsthand what's going on around here, and we have family and friends, multiple family and friends have been affected with this legislation that's going on. And my particular job is being outsourced to a company that's owned in Holland, and I've worked at it for 25 years.
So,
Central Bucks School District.
okay, so if there's one message that you could get out for today, you know, that you're here protesting, the one most important message, what would it be today?
Care about the worker bees.
Okay? And what would you like to see done to about that?
Well, equal representation and taxation. Wall Street, look at the signs around you. Responsible capitalism, healthcare for all. That's a huge concern, healthcare. He's 63. This is my husband, Rich. He's 63 years old. He's
everything.
looking forward to retiring. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that now. Me neither. I'm 51. We've worked hard our entire life to get to this part of our life.
So what do you see as a solution to your concerns?
I think we have to change the whole politics around government.
Well,
Start learning how to get along.
But when you say change the politics, what do you mean to change it from to what?
It's not run just by how much money you can throw at a politician.
Lobbyists.
Just the whole deal.
We want to save our communities. Eventually, what's going to happen is communities dry up. Local businesses can't run their businesses anymore. They don't have anybody to work for them. They can't afford health care. They dry up, move away. That's how towns die. I've seen it all across America. I traveled quite a bit.
In the Midwest,
In the
especially.
Midwest.
So how do you feel a solution could be implemented?
Well, there's got to be a whole bunch.
It's not one easy answer, I don't think.
No, it isn't. That's why.
It's very layered, very complex. And I think just listening to some people's ideas and getting them across and getting on websites and doing things like this wakes people up and you get ideas.
Do you have an idea how to start, maybe? Step one. Tell us step one.
Voting. I'm going to vote.
Okay.
And I'm going to vote for everybody that does not agree with my thoughts. That's a good start.
Are you?
It's not a Republican or a Democrat thing.
It's not.
It's the whole government. They're all.
So are you unhappy with the current administration, or
with the current one?
Yes.
They haven't accomplished much.
We're not disappointed with it either. It's very layered. It's not an easy answer. So we're hoping to get some thoughts flowing. That's why we're out here.
Okay.
They're not cooperating with each other.
Yeah, cooperation.
And the whole thing is, we voted for Obama to get some cooperation and work for the people a little bit instead of big business.
So, but do you feel he's working for big business?
We don't really know because nothing's ever been accomplished, but he's been fought on every item
that he tries to do.
Yes.
So, there's not one answer.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.